Ventis. What it does is it creates a perception in the customer's minds of the good, better, best. So they permanently raise their consumers' perceptions of what better was by sliding it all up one notch. So the bottom line to this is that by adding a premium product at the top end of your menu, your offerings, whatever, whether it's a different kind of tour, a different type of hotel room, it doesn't matter. It may not be your biggest producer, but what it does is to set perceptions in the minds of the consumers of value. If the Venti is the best value, but it's more than I want, I'll take middle of the road. I'll give you another example, and this was a number of years ago at the Tyrrell Museum. In fact, I think it was back in 1995. We introduced two new programs at the same time. One we called Day Digs, and it was an opportunity for people to actually go out into the field and excavate real dinosaur bones not with a paleontologist, but with a trained technician. So truly authentic, you got to do the real work for a full day in the Badlands. And at that point in time, remember this was 15, 20 years ago, priced at about I think it was around $95 per person. And that was a big chunk of change. At the same time, we introduced Dig Watch. And this was a guided tour out to that site where you got to see the work in progress, but you didn't actually get to participate. And it was priced at $24. The Day Digs program rarely sold out. And I think we could only accommodate 6 to 8 people anyway, just because of the size of the quarry, but rarely sold out. The Dig Watch, because they would see the two options and they'd go, yeah, that's not really the higher priced one, possibly for the price, but also for the time commitment, number of reasons. But what it did was it set in place in people's minds, all right, if that's the best, but I don't really want that, I will do this. This is something I can do. Time-wise, price-wise, activity level was a good fit. And it was a very successful program. So consider your own businesses and think about that good, better, best and the sort of the middle of the road mindset of the consumer and how you can position things in that manner. Next, we're going to take a look at some travel trends and pricing. First one is online. According to Stats Canada, and our folks from Meridian are going to get a chuckle because these are 2009 statistics, but the average Canadian spends over 40 hours a month online. And Alberta is actually second only to Ontario in terms of the amount of time that we spend online. And it's not all travel research, don't we all wish it was. Much of that time is connecting with friends and family using email, Facebook, those sorts of things. But it goes without saying that internet research has become a real key factor in travel planning. In fact, I was thinking about that this morning as I'm getting ready and going back to pre-internet. I don't even remember how I would book a hotel room if I was traveling out of province. Like if I didn't have that Yellow Pages phone book. Does anybody remember? How did we do it then? If I was traveling to Vancouver, how did I know where to stay? How did I know what the prices were? Honestly, maybe it's just me, but I can't remember how I did it. Anyway, Focusrite estimates, and Focusrite is a major US company that focuses strictly on travel and research, predominantly online. They're estimating that by next year, 2012, 40% of travel arrangements are going to be booked online. Think about that. And what an amazing opportunity that Chinook Country is giving to you to be able to do that. I know some of you probably already have your own online booking systems, but man, does this ever level the playing field for everybody in the room. So good news on that side, since that's the way the world is going. And as travelers seek more value, they're more inclined to buy their travel activities in advance. They want to avoid a product being sold out. They want to see if by buying online, can I get something special? Can I get that, behind the scenes tour or that special option that's available? Maybe it's that premium tour that we were talking about that has limited capacity, but that once in a lifetime opportunity for somebody. They don't want to miss out on that chance, so they're buying in line. Or skipping the line. If you buy your tickets in advance to something, and then you can go and avoid the lineup and scoot right through. They have at their fingertips, literally, a wealth of sites that will help them compare those prices. So if you don't have your prices posted, you're missing out on a huge opportunity to be considered in part of the travel planning process. And consumers, of course, are more than likely wanting to talk about their travels after they've done it online. Social media has made huge strides in the last few years. Who in the room is not on Facebook? A couple of you? Well, the bottom line is that with social media, we're more likely than ever before to talk about our trips through whatever avenue you decide to use. For those of you in the room, in terms of how that affects your tourism business, is that how people review you online affects the other people and how they position your product when they're taking a look at what their options could be. So if you get a fantastic review and I'm then scooting around to see where my travel plans, what I'm going to add into my basket, and I see that great review and then I see what it costs to do it, I understand the price-value relationship even better. So what people say online about you and your product helps to underscore the value. So it's extremely important. This slide, again, is from Focusrite. Doesn't show up all that well on the screen, but the bottom line to it is that consumers share their views on all kinds of products and services. And then this slide, actually, if you could read it, would show you some interesting stats gathered by Focusrite on the influences of different online information. The thing that really stands out about the data in this particular slide is that review sites like TripAdvisor are not actually as important to the consumer as some other sites like Expedia or an online travel agency. And yet most businesses will pay more attention to their TripAdvisor reviews versus what people might be saying about them on Expedia. Bottom line is, read them all, understand where you are at in that consumer perceptions standpoint. What's your value score in terms of what consumers think about what you offer compared to what I have to pay or what I have to give up to get that. I guess the other thing that's important to consider in terms of this is that consumers, when they're shopping, they consider multiple reference points in terms of whether your price is reasonable in their minds or not. This one may strike fear in the hearts of some hotels. For the first time in about 18 years, brands are important to, I think it's less than 50% of American consumers. Again, this is some American stats, but we Canadians are not that much different from our neighbors in the US. Free internet use actually is more important to the consumer than actually being loyal to any one particular brand. As prices become more and more transparent, brand